UFC 310 just wrapped up the final pay-per-view card of the year. So today I will bring you my full card predictions. Not alright, no. I will bring you all the future matchups. I think the fights we need to see after that card, and a couple of them it's hard to decide because there's a couple people I could see getting the fights, and yeah, but we're gonna start off with Pantoja, end off with one of the three in the bottom. I'm not sure. But yeah, starting off with Pantoja, Kai France. I mean, he's coming off a win off of Steve Erceg. What's it called? Pantoja just cleared everybody out of his division. Like he's lapping the division. Unless he moves up, I could see him moving up honestly to fight a Marab or an Umar. I don't think he wins because they're just so much bigger, but it's just he's beaten everybody, and I don't know who's left for him to fight. Um, Yeah, I feel like this one's kind of self-explanatory. Now, this next one might be a little controversial because I saw people matchmaking him with much lower competition, but bro, Asakura versus Taira, Fight Night Japan, that that's a crazy. I think that's a good idea. You fight night in Tokyo or some shit, just some city in Japan. You dude, Asakura, Taira, fight Japan Fight Night. That's the way to do it. You get any Japanese prospect you want on that card. Maybe you do like I don't know because this is gonna be a while too because the Asakura weight cut to flyweight is brutal unless he wants to move up to bantamweight. But if he wants to stay at flyweight, I think him versus Taira Fight Night Japan is the way to do it because if Asakura wins, then you're just building up his title run again. He's a big star already in Japan. If Taira beats Asakura, then that's a new Japanese star you're exposing to the Japanese market. I'm sure they knew who he is, but they all favor Asakura a lot more. But if you show them Taira and Taira is able to beat Asakura, he jumps him as the Japanese superstar, and he's a UFC homegrown guy that hasn't fought for a title. He just lost his first fight to Royval in a very competitive fight. So I think this is a good fight to make for a fight night in Japan. Moving on, Shavkat Rakhmonov. We're not going to spend too much time on this. It's Bilal Muhammad, although I originally thought Bilal would beat Shavkat, but yesterday almost upped my confidence in Bilal to beat Shavkat. I just don't think Shavkat's amazing wrestling and probably better stand up than Bilal. But Bilal's wrestling is just on a different level. I think is gonna if Shavkat's almost getting submitted by Ian Gary, I see Bilal just being able to dominate him in the grappling, getting him up against the fence, teeing off on him, maybe landing some good body kicks. I just think Bilal's the better mixed martial artist. But yeah, this is the next fight to make. That was pretty self-explanatory. It's already supposed to be made for this card, but Ian Gary stepped in, and yeah. Moving on. Speaking of Ian Gary, who do I have Ian Gary fighting? I'm fighting the loser of Joaquin Buckley versus Covington, which this exposes my pick, and I plan on doing predictions for that fight card because it's the last one of the year. But yeah, I just see Ian Gary fighting the loser of that, and I think it's going to be Colby Covington. Now, I don't think Colby would accept this fight, but if I'm a matchmaker, this is the fight I'm trying to get done. You know, Colby's stock, not Colby, Ian Gary's stock went up after that fight. Honestly, just he got a lot more respect from me for his ground game. He had fantastic ground game. Nearly got Shavkat in that rear naked choke in round 5. I thought he was gonna get it because he almost got it under the neck, but barely able to survive with Shavkat. And yeah, this fight makes a ton of sense. You're trying to get Gary back in the title picture. A big name against Covington. This can what's it called? Headline a new fight night, especially if you're trying to get out of the Apex. A lot of these can be out of the Apex fight nights, like Asakura, and then Ian Gary, and a couple other fights I have coming up. I think you could headline. But yeah, this is the fight to make in the welterweight division to get it moving in the title picture and to set up Bilal's next contender. Moving on to the thief himself, Cyril Gahn. Yeah, you can get submitted by Jailton Almeida for robbing my boy Volkov. He showed up in the braids and everything. But yeah, no way did I think Ciryl won that fight. I don't think he deserves a step up. I don't think he deserves a title shot after a performance like that, especially because he did not win. I do not think he won. Not many people thought he won. Dana didn't think he won. So yeah, they better pay Volkov his win money because he beat Ciryl that night. But yeah, as far as Volkov, I would say give him a title shot because I think that's what should happen. But you can't give him a title shot off a loss, so I say just feed Tybura to him, just so you could say he's coming off a win and give him a title shot, especially while you wait for the Jones and Aspinall situation to figure itself out. You can this can be an Apex main event, which I think it was already, but if you're still staying in Apex, that's a good Apex main event. Just have Volkov absolutely run through Tybura and then he can get the next title shot. But if not, if you're not going to give him somebody like that, just give him a title shot because he should get it anyway. But this is a good at fight that gives him an excuse to give him the title shot after he easily dismantles Martian Tybura. Moving on to the undeserved fourth fight of the main card, which it should have been Evloev Aljo. Bryce Mitchell. Oops. Who is Bryce Mitchell going to fight? Actually, the loser of Evloev Aljo. I have him fighting Aljamain Sterling. If you put Aljamain Sterling in there with a grappler, he's a very exciting fighter. Bryce Mitchell knocks out Kron Gracie. I think this is a great fight. I think Aljo probably wins, but I feel like Bryce Mitchell Aljo, it's just there's gonna be a lot of good scrambles. You saw the scrambles that happened in the Evloev Aljo fight. It was actually a decently exciting fight. Very different than what I thought it was gonna be because I thought Evloev was going to easily be able to control Aljo, but Aljo proved that he could hang with heavier weight class grapplers, and he was able just to he's picking up Evloev and slamming him on the ground. Like I think Evloev won the fight because Aljo was getting too excited. He was trying to. I think he tried to hop on Evlov's back when he fell off, and then Evlov was able to get on top. But it was a very impressive performance from Aljo, even though he lost. And Evlov's going to be moving on to. I don't know who I'm fighting yet. Oh no, I do. But this is a great. This could be a fight night, maybe like co-main event. Bryce Mitchell versus Aljamain Sterling. Maybe if you go back to Long Island, like they did with Ortega and Yair, you could main event it because of Aljo from being from New York. But it's more likely than not, this could be like that could be a fight night co-main or maybe the opener of a pay-per-view. Bryce Mitchell versus Aljo, but I think it's a good fight to make. Moving on, Mobzar Evloev versus he beat Aljamain Sterling. He will be fighting Alexander Volkanovski. I've thought about giving him a title shot, but I just don't think the timeline matches up because it would have him getting a title shot would have to be after Diego Lopez, but I don't think he's going to wait that long, and I don't think the UFC is going to want to have him sit out that long. And I just think if you could beat Volkanovski, you can get a title shot. But this is a good fight because it can prove that Volk still has it or he doesn't, and it can prove that Evloev can beat somebody as well rounded as Volk. I keep wanting to say Volkov because he's right there, but I feel like this is the fight to make. I think Evloev might be able to win, but at the same time, no, because Volk is still a great mixed martial artist. He just got chinned. Like there was nothing really showed me that he can't beat Evloev. He was able to hang in there with Islam Makhachev and be able to defensively grapple against him, even offensively grapple at times. And he's much bigger than Evloev, who was I think in the very very beginning of his career is 125. But I mean, he's obviously now just a permanent 135er. But it just goes to show that Volk was able to hang with the 155, thinking about moving up to 170. Islam Makhachev, and it's a great fight. Winner of this fights the winner of Ilya Lopez, and yeah, moving on. My boy Dominic Reyes, the only man to defeat John Jones. Who do I? He beat Anthony Smith, who he's not on this list. He should retire. Rest in peace to his coach yet again, but I just don't think he's mentally able to keep getting in the ring, or the octagon, with that loss weighing on him. As in the loss of his coach, not the fight. But as for Dominic Reyes, who do I have him fighting? I have him fighting Volkan Ozdemir, who just lost to Carlos Ulberg at UFC Macau, or the Chinese one, whatever. But yeah, this should be a great fight, and the winner of this sets himself up for a number one contenders fight in the light heavyweight division. Now, I see people giving Dominic Reyes, like I saw Bedtime give him Khalil Roundtree. I don't think he deserves that much of a step up yet because he only beat Dustin Jacoby and Anthony Smith, who were decent wins. But I think Volkan Ozdemir, he's a couple ranking spots ahead of where I think Dominic Reyes will end up. And yeah, winner of this gets set up for a number one contender fight against maybe the loser of Yuri Jamal Hill. That's who I could see the winner of this fight fighting. And then the winner of that goes on to fight Alex Pereira or whoever the light heavyweight champion is at the time. But yeah, I think Dominic Reyes, it was a very impressive win. Moving on, who do I do next? I'll do Luque. Vicente Luque, he made a call out in the mic. He called out Jorge Masvidal, and I think that's a good fight to make. I feel like Luque is just getting his momentum back. It was a great win over Thema Guerrero, who's better than Jorge Masvidal, I believe. But no, actually no, scratch that. What the fuck am I talking about? Jorge Masvidal, he's good. He's underrated, honestly. But Jorge Masvidal's good, and this could be a fight night main event if you're going to some maybe Miami, like a fight night in Miami where it's not like as big of a venue, but it's still Miami. You could take Vicente Luque there with Jorge Masvidal. And yeah, like 'cause it's a big name in Masvidal and a winnable fight for Luque. The Darce Knight has returned. It was a great fight for Luque, and I'm so happy to see him win again because when I saw him fight Joaquin Buckley, I thought he was done because he looked like he just gave up in that fight. He had no heart from what I saw, and yeah, I'm so happy for Luque, and I think Jorge Masvidal's a great opponent. It's a big name for him. And if he wins this, then we can start looking up the rankings because the welterweight division will have figured itself out a little bit more. And yeah, because I didn't want to feed him to a Prates or a Morales yet, and he already got absolutely uh, blasted by Jeff Neal, and we don't need to see that fight again. I'll tell you that. But yeah, moving on, Joshua Van. Who do I have Joshua Van fighting? He'll be in the rankings come Tuesday. He'll probably be ranked 14, maybe 13, and I have him fighting Tim Elliott. Tim Elliott hasn't fought in a year. He fought last December, and this is just a good way to push Joshua Van as a prospect. I feel like this should be an easy fight for him, Tim Elliott, unless Tim Elliott's able to just grapple him, like just control him on the ground. But Cody Durden couldn't do that, and I feel like Joshua Van will be able to finish somebody like Tim Elliott just to get his name value up, and then you could start looking to get him in a number one contender fight, Joshua Van. And yeah, bring some excitement back to flyweight. You need a contender for Pantoja after Kai France, and who better than Joshua Van? So yeah, not much I could say about that fight because these fights we're getting to the lower tier, like nobody really cares fights. And last but not least, I could have put a couple people in this last slot, but I put Brian Battle. And who do I have Brian Battle fighting? If he would have gone out there and knocked out Randy Brown or had a good, impressive fight against Randy Brown, I would have gave him a rankings fight, maybe even against Luque. But I just didn't see that from him. So who do I give him? The ultimate gatekeeper, Neil Magny. You go out there, you knock out Neil Magny, your hype's right back up. Then we give you a ranked fight. But other than that, I don't think he deserves a ranked fight as of now because that fight against Randy Brown was not that impressive. Unless, and maybe you can give Brian Battle like a Renat Fakhnadirov, but even then, I don't think you should give him that. I feel like Neil Magny's a great opponent for him. Neil Magny, the ultimate gatekeeper of the welterweight rankings, but I feel like his gatekeeping days are over. We now have Kevin Holland. Well, he's actually a middleweight now again, but you know what I'm trying to say. He's no longer like the ultimate gatekeeper because he's not in the rankings. But he's always a good test for anybody that is about to get a rankings fight. So Brian Battle, Neil Magny, Apex main event potentially. Actually, no, fuck that. Apex co-main. That's what this could be because neither of them are ranked. Apex co-main event: Brian Battle versus Neil Magny, and some honorable mentions that I could have put on here: Kennedy Nzechukwu. Uh whoever's 15 in the here. I have the rankings right here. No, actually, I can't open it because I have this all messed up. So you guys could see just this section, the Gerwin matchmaking thing. But whoever's at the bottom of the heavyweight rankings is who Kennedy Nzechukwu could fight. Like who's at the bottom down there? He could fight a Waldo Cortez Costa, maybe a Marcos Rodriguez. Or no, Tai, maybe Tai Tuivasa. He could fight a Tai. But yeah, just somebody like that. Who else was on this card? Was there anybody else worth mentioning? Not sure. Now I gotta look it up. Chase Hooper. Chase Hooper fight Bobby Green, I guess. Yeah, he could fight Bobby Green. Maybe Jim Miller. Did he fight Jim Miller? I don't think he did. Maybe he could fight Jim Miller, but he could also even a step up. Yeah, maybe Bobby Green's where he should fight. Yeah, give him Bobby Green. I don't think he's ready for the rankings just yet. I feel like one more fight and he could get a rankings fight. Chase Hooper. But yeah, that's all the people I can think of from I really care about that I could think of a matchup for off the top of my head. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below if you guys agree with all these matchups I made right here. And make sure to follow the socials, Gerwin MMA, at Gerwin MMA on Instagram and Twitter and TikTok. I don't really post on TikTok that much, but I just have it in case. And yeah, that's all from me. And I will just see you guys in the next video. Peace.